Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
8:06 now. It's O'Connor and Company. Thank you for letting us be your wingman on this Tuesday morning in your nation's capital. Coming up in 30 minutes, Dinesh D'Souza, commentator, filmmaker, brand new movie out about the October 7th atrocities called The Dragon's Prophecy. I'm Larry O'Connor alongside Julie Gunlock.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Joining us right now, I'll be honest, he's my favorite of the Trump children. Don't tell the other two I said that, Eric. Although I have a soft spot for Barron, of course. Everybody loves Barron. Everybody loves the youngest. But Eric Trump is the executive vice president of the Trump Organization, husband, of course, to Lara Trump. And, we also love him. To be completely honest, it's because you're in charge of the Trump winery. And that's really ultimately all I care
Larry,
about.
I know you love the winery, and Julie, it's great to be on. And our secret is safe on the radio show that your favorite child is me. So
yes,
I'm very honored, Larry.
Hold on. When you say the secret is safe, you're suggesting we don't have a lot of listeners, Eric, and I don't know how to take that, actually.
Amazing. It's good to be on, guys. The winery is doing great, and it misses you very much.
Thank you. Brand new book, Under Siege, My Family's Fight to Save the Nation. It's on sale now. It officially hits on October 14th. This must have been hard for you to write, actually, to have to relive what you all have been through.
You know, it was hard. It was cathartic in a certain way. I never thought I'd, really be an author. But, I mean, guys, the things that they did to us, right, the things that they did to my father, the things that they did to our family, the 1,000 stories behind the scenes that no one ever saw on the front pages of the New York Times. And they tried to impeach my father twice. They wrote dirty dossiers about my father and our family. I was the guy that was getting calls, from the FBI saying, I hear you have secret servers communicating with the Kremlin in the basement of Trump Tower. I mean, give me a break. They weaponized every attorney general. They weaponized every district attorney in every far blue district in the country. 91 indictments. They took us off of Twitter. They took us off of Facebook. They took us off of Instagram. I mean, 3/4 of your listeners, they turned down the dials. I mean, they raided Mar-a-Lago. They raided Melania's closet. I could go on and on for hours. They debanked us. They deplatformed us. I became the most subpoenaed person in American history, all because they wanted to destroy my father. They wanted to destroy our family, and they wanted to destroy, make America great again. And so I wrote the book. I started the book, call it a year and a half ago. And, this was before Butler had happened. And I named it Under Siege because our company was under siege. I was under siege. Again, the most subpoenas ever. And then they tried to kill my father the first time. Then they tried to kill him the second time. Then you just saw what happened with Charlie Kirk. And so, but it's actually a beautiful story because at the end, we beat the deep state. We beat the crazy, mainstream media in this country. And our country is doing great for it, especially Washington, D.C., which has no more crime anymore, thanks to my father and the good work that the administration has done.
Eric, it really is astonishing as you lay that out, as you list the attacks that your family has been under. But has this brought you all closer? It seems that way, at least to the observer, to me, to a lot of people. Yeah. It seems like your family is so close. But have some of these trials that you've been through, has this brought you all closer together?
Julie, no question about it. I mean, they wanted to break us all apart. That was they wanted to destroy my father's marriage. I speak about that in the book. I mean, they certainly did that with the dirty dossier, right, which was paid for by Hillary Clinton, which just said unthinkable things that are really meant to disrupt a marriage, right? They tried to break Ivanka, Don, and I apart in so many ways. I mean, it was unrelenting. They wanted to see our family torn apart. I remember saying to my father, we came out of one of the trials in New York, right? He had just gotten convicted of 34 felonies. Since then, it's been totally overturned. We've won every single one of the cases. Yeah. And he said to me, he goes, Eric, I don't know how. He goes, honey, I don't know how, but we're going to win this thing. He meant overturning the trial. He also meant, obviously winning the presidency. And I said to him, I go, Pops, it's the White House or jail, for both of us. And we had never done a damn thing wrong. I mean, I'm a guy who's never gotten a speeding ticket. I'm a guy who works incredibly hard, about the most honest. No laptops from hell, no, prostitution as you've seen from counterparts in previous administrations, no drugs, no anything. I mean, I have two beautiful kids, believe in God, and, live a, awfully clean lifestyle. And yet, they wanted us all locked up. They wanted us behind bars. And that's the story that is Under Siege. And, the beautiful part of it is we won. We
Yeah.
won, and in such a devastating fashion, winning the popular vote, winning every swing state.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't be more proud of our fight.
The book by Eric Trump, our guest, is Under Siege, My Family's Fight to Save the Nation, and it's on pre-sale right now. The book hits next week, the 14th. By the way, big takeaway from this interview already, newsmaking. You call him Pops? Is that what you call him, Pops?
I call him Pops, and he calls me Honey. He actually jokes about it on stage. He goes, listen, I don't care.
I've
I don't
heard
care if
that.
he's 41. You know, I'll always call my kids, you know, Honey and Sweetheart, and you know, he's an incredibly affectionate guy. But you know, the book went to #1 almost instantly on Amazon.
That's great.
Every category, and yeah, it's doing great, guys. I'm
I want
incredibly
to
proud
ask
of it.
you, and you keep reiterating, and you need to reiterate, and we try to reiterate because we try to be as positive and upbeat, and you know, glass. Forget about half full; it's overflowing right now. There's a lot of great stuff going on. When you say we won, in the end we won. In the end we won. I get that, but you know, the people who did this to you. James Comey and John Brennan, James Clapper and Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, and all the unnamed people who are still wearing the badge, still working in law enforcement. They haven't really paid a price at all. And in your mind, Eric Trump, what is that? And you're not a government official. You're not an elected official. You're just a guy that this all happened to. What does accountability look like to you? What do you want to happen here?
Well, I find it so ironic when everybody says, "Oh, they're weaponizing government," because to me, it very much looked like James Comey lied to Ted Cruz during the hearing. They're weaponizing government because they're going after James Comey. I go, excuse me, do me a favor. Anybody that says that, get a copy of the book and send it to them, and you'll see what the real weaponization of government was. You know, as they literally are fining our company $600 million for doing absolutely nothing wrong. As again, they're calling up J.P. Morgan Chase and telling them, you know, you stop banking the Trumps, you know, effectively trying to put our company out of business. It's a disgrace. I mean, Hillary Clinton deleted 33,000 emails. They didn't do a damn thing to her, you know, and she's joking about it, you know. And the problem is, in this country, it became, you know, rules for thee and not for me. That's what was happening with the Democratic Party, and everybody knows it. And guys, I keep on saying it, you know, and then at the end we won. The reality is the American people voted decisively. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote. Every state in the nation, you know, tacked to the right. Miami-Dade, which hasn't gone Republican in 37 years, you know, voted 11% for, you know, overwhelmingly for my father, went Republican for the first time in almost 4 decades. And so the people spoke. There's only so many times that the Democrats can cry wolf before people understand our BS. You know, they got away with it for a couple of years with Russiagate before you know, that collapsed. They got away with it with the first impeachment, maybe even a little bit with the second impeachment. And then people stopped buying the fact that they were taking my father into a courtroom and charging him with 34 felonies for a $130,000 payment, of which he wasn't even a part of. You know, the entire country rebelled against the nonsense, and they came out overwhelmingly. And by the way, guys, right now you have a mainstream media that's dead. You have independent voice that's bigger than ever before. It's one of the reasons you guys do so well, right? But the mainstream media in this, I mean, look at NBC, look at ABC.
Oh,
those channels are.
It's
my
suicide.
wife on a Saturday night, Laura Trump on a Saturday night on Fox News, is beating their midweek ratings on network TV by millions of viewers. It should tell you everything you need to know. Look at Joe Rogan and what he's been able to accomplish, right? And look at your success. The mainstream media is dead, so they can no longer be the PR arm of the Democratic Party. And so now my father's sitting there with the best cabinet ever. He has the House. He has the Senate. You know, he has the Supreme Court. Obviously, he has the executive branch. He has a killer cabinet. You know, he has a weakened media. You know, and people whose eyes have been open to the nonsense over the last decade. And man, what a difference it is this term than second. This is like Trump on steroids versus.
It is. It's fun to watch. It is, and we're enjoying having a front row seat to it here in the nation's capital. Again, our guest is Eric Trump. The book is Under Siege: My Family's Fight to Save the Nation. The winery is the Trump Winery and Cidery, by the way, in Charlottesville. It's worth the visit for an overnight, and the wine is fantastic. Obviously, and we got to leave it there, sadly. But congratulations on the book. Good luck with all the pre-sales and everything.
Eric.
And thanks for writing it.
Julie, Larry, thanks, guys. Great to be back.
You bet. That's Eric Trump. Which of all the Trump, you know, kidlings, the spawn, who do you think has the?
I'm going to always go with Barron because I have a soft spot because I'm the mom
Sure.
of teenage boys.
I was going to ask
though,
which one do you think is most likely to run for office, or do you think
Eric.
you think they've seen enough and they don't want to have
I
anything
think
to do
Eric
with
and
it?
Laura are a couple to watch.
Yeah. All right. I'll keep an eye on that. I mean, you're not going out on a limb there. Let's face
I
it.
know.
Kind of go-getters.
Just shoot. They're all kind of,
anytime a
successful.
anytime a Senate seat in America opens up in a state where Laura Trump has spent more than a weekend, it's like, well, Laura Trump is rumored to be running for that Senate seat.
Was she in Maine? Well, there you go.
It's 8:16.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Your next $1,000 could be one text away. It's $5K a day on WMAL.
So Kamala Harris is still trying to sell her book, and now she's doing this tour that they're having trouble selling tickets for. She sits on stage with an interlocutor, and she talks about her life in a theater. She's selling tickets to theaters. I think she's coming to the Warner here. Anyway, she keeps repeating this same talking point over and over.
And here's the other thing that is quite unprecedented. And it was the tightest, closest presidential election
Just lying.
of the 21st century. He does not have a mandate. That is not a mandate.
I don't know if you can hear this. She's screaming. He does not have a mandate. He does not have a mandate. It was the closest, tightest race in the 21st century. So I just did a quick check. The closest, tightest race of the 21st century, Grok or ChatGPT will tell you, was George W. Bush and Al Gore in 2000. Although technically, not to be that guy, but that was the last year of the 20th century. 21st century didn't start until 2001. So
Fine.
take that, Grok. Okay. Set that aside. 2016, Trump-Hillary was closer. 2020, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, closer. 2004, George W. Bush, John Kerry, closer. 2012, Barack Obama, Mitt Romney was closer. Then you get to Donald Trump, Kamala Harris. So you've got all those other races that were closer and tighter.
Larry,
Yes.
in fairness to Kamala, she's drunk. Okay?
Well, that's probably true. In fact, we have more evidence that she's drunk from her Harvard campus tour yesterday. We'll play that in a second.
Oh,
but
dear.
Charlie Spearing, Daily Mail, friend of the program, he's on often. He wrote a book about Kamala Harris. He was on a podcast, and he explained where she's getting all of this. This is the After Party podcast with Emily Shashinsky. Cut 27.
I was doing some research. I think I figured out her math here. I think that it turns out the 21st century begins in January 2001. So that cuts out the Bush election, technically, according to the way centuries are measured. So that cuts out the 2000, which is the closest election in modern history, I believe. I think Florida was decided by just 537 votes.
Chads.
And then, so I think she's looking at, it was so funny because it's so typical to when Hillary lost, she was like, but at least I won the popular vote. And but I think this time around, Kamala's actually using the popular vote to point to this margin. Trump may have won the popular vote, but he didn't win it by that huge of a margin. Obviously, elections aren't decided by the popular vote.
Yes. So there you go. First of all, you have to throw the Constitution out. Then you have to say popular vote, and then say, well, it wasn't that close in the popular vote, which, by the way, is a meaningless statistic.
And then you have to leave out the hanging chads and all that
Right.
stuff. But also,
Right.
can you imagine how annoyed Hillary is that Kamala's walking around?
That's true.
Let's get those two talking about it.
Basically, Kamala is saying I did much better than Hillary.
Right.
That's
Right.
what she's saying, which is, oh, you're right. We got to get that cat fight going.
Yeah.
All right. So now I got a couple of other things here for you. Here's Bill Maher took Kamala Harris to task here on the book tour. Take a listen.
Kamala Harris's new memoir of the 24 election is called 107 Days, but it should have been called Everyone Sucks But Me.
That's true. That is the thesis of the book.
Yep.
107 Days is a victim's title because, get it, she only had 107 days to win. Yeah, and $1.5 billion and a built-in army of about 75 million people who'd vote for any human-adjacent life form that wasn't Trump.
Right, exactly. And by the way, I keep pointing this out. If the election were held on the 7th day of those 107 days, she would have won. The fact she said, "Oh, I only had 100." The longer she was in the race, the more unpopular she got.
That's right.
So honestly, the short runway there actually aided her. And then you mentioned that she's drunk. I don't know that she's drunk in this clip, but I'll let you decide. Take a listen. She's on the campus of Harvard on the book tour, and, well, take a listen.
I am so proud of all of you. How privileged I feel to have been educated at Howard University. There is so much about everything I have achieved, and I've been the first to do many things because of being here when I was your age, knowing that everything that I'm being told and can feel tells us we can be and do anything, that we expect you to be leaders locally, statewide, nationally, and internationally. And especially at this period in time, I want that you all know our country and our world needs you all. We need you. So you be strong. You feed these big brains of yours.
Oh, dear.
You make friends who are going to be, by the way, friends of yours for life.
All right, enough. By the way,
Hammered.
I misspoke. It was Howard University. I apologize, not Harvard University. It was Howard because she was referring to her alma mater, so she was here.
You know, Larry, we were hanging out this weekend. We had a party to go to. We hung out.
Yeah.
And at one point, we were also with our friend Carrie Lucas. And at one point, Carrie and I were talking about how we're at that, like, happy, lovey-dovey phase of drunkenness, right? Where you're just like, I love you. That's where Kamala is in this particular clip. I'm just saying because I recognize it. This is what I was this weekend.
Are you saying you weren't being genuine when you were telling me how much you
No, I'm very genuine. I'm just I'm like a happy, tipsy person.
I love you too.
I love you.
It's 8:24.
But did you? Oh, okay, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
No. Coming up, Dinesh D'Souza. Keep it here. It's 8:30.
WMAL FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
October 7th was the Devil's Holiday.
It's very hard to believe what happened, even though I was there and seeing with my own eyes and seeing them laughing and killing and having fun with it.
Because if you don't open the door, they are going to kill you and they are going to kill me, so please open the door.
That's just a glimpse of the trailer of The Dragon's Prophecy, Dinesh D'Souza's new film. And I want to tell you, I've had a chance to see this film, and the opening is absolutely harrowing because it shows scenes of the terrorists from their body cams. They were streaming it. They were proud of what they did. But then it dives into really a lot of the misinformation and sort of the propaganda that we've been hearing about the state of Israel, about their enemies, and about how historic this struggle really is. Dinesh D'Souza, the filmmaker behind the Dragon's Prophecy film, joins us now. Dinesh, always great to talk with you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, it's a great pleasure. I made this film kind of for the anniversary of October 7th, but it's amazing how so many currents of controversy are now swirling around this, coming not just from the left, where we kind of expect it, but also from the right. So the film is right in the middle of that debate.
Yeah, and by the way, it's in movie theaters tomorrow. You can see it in a movie theater, and then also after the fact, you can stream it. Just go to thedragonsprophecyfilm.com. The centerpiece of this film is your interview with Jonathan Cahn, who is an author. This is a #1 bestseller, The Dragon's Prophecy. And you, first of all, let's start about the historic basis of it. I don't know why it never occurred to me, but we know about the Philistines, David and Goliath, and how the Philistines were sort of constantly trying to slaughter the ancient Hebrews of the Old Testament. I don't know why I never connected Philistine and Palestinians.
You know, that's actually the exact same word, Philistine, Palestine. Ironically, in the centuries immediately after Christ, there were some Jewish revolts, and the Roman emperor, in order to kind of punish the Jews, said, listen, I'm going to take the name of your ancient enemy, and I'm going to call your land Palestine. That's the origin of how the region came to be known as Palestine. It was a kind of infliction by the Romans on the Jews. And then later, in the 20th century, Palestine is kind of picked up by Arabs, who then sort of invent the idea of sort of Palestine or Palestinianism. Now, the film begins, as you said, with riveting footage of October 7th. I'm kind of astounded that the public, the American public, the world public, has really not seen much of this, in part because the government of Israel was a little reluctant to release it right after October 7th. But it's right there in the film with a little bit of a graphic warning. Some of the most gruesome stuff I left out. But then the film explores the historic and even the biblical and prophetic significance of October 7th. Now, where Jonathan Cahn comes in, I think, and the genius of Cahn, is he doesn't just notice the resemblance between the name Philistine, Palestine. He shows the tactics are exactly the same. I mean, if I can give the example of the biblical hero Samson, he represents the strength of Israel. He's captured by the Philistines. He's blinded in much the same way Israel was blinded after October 7th. The Bible says he was dragged to Gaza. Gaza is named in the Bible. And it says the people of Gaza said, bring him out so he can entertain us. Bring out Samson. And right after October 7th, sure enough, hostages were kind of stripped to the waist, brought out, paraded, and people are dancing around them, shouting Allahu Akbar. So Khan makes, I think, the arresting observation that Samson, 3,000 years ago, is the first hostage of Gaza. This is the kind of stuff you're going to get in the film. It's a very wide-angle lens that connects prophecy to history and also to the Bible.
Yeah, I mean, this is very, you really get into some deep stuff here, talking about how October 7th was not just, driven by anti-Semitism and terrorism, but again, very biblical sort of battle for the soul of humanity. And at the end, there's this call to action to Jews and Christians to return to their roots, stand up for good, and resist evil. I have to say, it's frustrating right now when I see that at Langley High School right here in Northern Virginia, there's a Kafaya Day this week, the very week that we are remembering October 7th. And we see all these protests and these Palestinian flags and what's happening in the UK and Jews fleeing certain countries like the UK and France. How can we really convey this message that there needs to be Christians and Jews need to stand up, and there needs to be better education for young people in this country and around the world?
Yes, absolutely. A lot of Christians don't recognize that a very sordid alliance has developed between the cultural left in the West. This is like a very permissive LGBTQ cultural left, and on the other side, the radical jihadi Muslims. Now, you would never think that these two groups, which have totally different goals, would come together. But they come together because they have a common enemy, and the common enemy is Israel on the one side, but also the Christians on the other. Notice that they're chopping the heads off of Christians in places like Nigeria. So there is brutality against the Jews and brutality against the Christians, and it's coming from the same place.
Yeah.
So it's a massive wake-up call to Jews and Christians worldwide to come together, because this is a very real threat that we all face together.
Yeah. The film is The Dragon's Prophecy. It's thedragonsprophecyfilm.com. We're talking to the filmmaker Dinesh D'Souza. And by the way, Dinesh interviewed Prime Minister Netanyahu and Ambassador Huckabee for this film. Really interesting questions that you had for both of them on this. But if you could, really quickly, you show this moment, it's now gone viral, between Tucker Carlson, and I don't know what's going on with Tucker Carlson, because you can see stuff that he's said throughout his career supporting the state of Israel. Yeah. Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz, where Carlson sort of presses Ted Cruz on, do you really think that the current government in Israel, the state of Israel, is the same as the biblical Hebrews and the biblical nation of Israel? And first of all, there's a flawed premise in the question. However, you explore this issue, Dinesh, and I think that it's worth exploring here in our interview, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think with Tucker, he has the sort of ventriloquist strategy, I call it, where he raises all these questions. He never really answers them himself, but he leaves you with a kind of misleading impression. And so I take the question seriously, and I dive into history, biblical archaeology, and then, hey, I've got the Prime Minister of Israel, so I ask him the question directly, and he weighs right in and does his own kind of elegant slam dunk on Tucker. So, the film is really interesting because it's timely. It's like I finished it yesterday, and at the same time, it addresses themes that are very timeless.
Yeah. And by the way, everybody who says that Israel is a colonizer in some way of the Palestinian homeland, the archaeological evidence in this film, going back and finding the Kingdom of David and the obvious evidence that this was the Israeli homeland. I guess you can go all the way back to when Abraham, ventured in there and decided that he was going to set up camp. Okay, sure. Abraham was the colonizer, I suppose. But it's great stuff. Really interesting film and worth seeing for sure. Dinesh, congratulations once again. Appreciate you joining us.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And by the way, if you want to see it here it's the AMC in Alexandria, the Cinemark at Fairfax, and the Cinemark Egyptian in Hanover. All are showing the film tomorrow. Get your tickets. It's 8:45 WMAL. That's a wrap. And don't forget to reflect on this anniversary of October 7th today and talk to your kids about it too, by the way. Coming up next, it's Chris Plant. Do not let Chris Plant talk to your kids about anything.
Definitely don't do that. You never know what might result. A lot of Democrats across the country coming out and they're rallying today on the anniversary to oppose Israel.
Yeah. Boy, they learned the right lesson from October 7th, didn't they?
Yeah, to support the terrorists. Also, I love this Washington Post editorial today. The biggest confession from the Washington Post of the last 15 years. Like, oh, yeah, by the way, did we mention we've been lying to you about this giant thing for the last 15 years?